Sorry guys, I have something to come up and I stopped it. So now I'm continuing from where we stopped. So now go back to this and so let's try with control dot and see the reference. So it looks like iService. Go back here. This is iServer. It's not iService. And then so now we can do the control dot and implement interface. So where you could see all the implementation methods here. Now I want to keep all the database operations in top where I could see the create, update and delete, and the rest is servers. Now what I would think of to start with the get servers. So now let's do with the I think we need an entity information. So if you go here, the data access layer, and then go to the EDMX. So there was a entity information where you could see the context. So we need a context to go with. Since the context is testDB entities, take this testDB entities and then do the control dot, and it takes you to this. This and uh, let's create a instance for this, and for that I want to create it in one constructor, which is server service. So there we can declare TextDB entities and then DB context equal to null. This is a declaration, and then put it creating the object here. So take this DB context dot. Now we will get all the servers information dot server dot select. So return dot to list. Some reason this is not coming with the entity framework version. So what we need to do is let's go to the service and go to the manage NuGet and browse and type the entity framework. So this is entity framework. 74.9 million users are downloaded this. So now I'm installing here, and then take it and get the accept. So now go back here, dot to list, because we do not need any entity for now. Okay, now it is not directly returning. So if it is returning, the object is something which is a data access layer table server. So we need it for we need something for returning into the model, which is the service model, server model. And then what we can do is dot select new server model. Then let's do the property assignments. Okay, so now I assigned database objects properties into the server model properties and the tool list. So I'm returning the entire list servers here. Same thing that you can implement it where you can copy paste this one, and you need one single server object where you do not need a list here. And then um, you need a where condition where you need based on the x dot server ID equal to and then server ID. By filtering the server ID, you are getting one single object. So let's make sure you can put the first or default. So if you keep the first only, it gives you the first object. But if it is first or default, sometimes if you do not have any the server ID which is belongs to in the table, so it will returns the null value. So that's why we keep the first or default. Default is null. It gives you into that. So now let's create let's create the server right now, and then now we can take it to the server object, where let's first take the object from here, go to definition, sorry, I'll go back. So let's put the TBL server, which is a data access layer object, and then server object, because we want to keep passing whatever we are passing from the UI, the server model object, into the data access layer object. Let's declare as a null server object equal to db context dot table servers dot where. First I want to check whether this server is already available. Next dot server ID equal to server object dot server ID, not first or default, to make sure if it is already available with the server ID. Generally it gives you the record server object. If server object equal to null, which means it do not have any record belongs to the server ID. Now you can insert here by using db context dot table servers dot add new table server, which is database objects one, and then now let's take the each property was equal to, and then server object dot callout process. Same thing for all the details. So I want to take all of these instead of typing, just keeping here, and then replacing, the server object. Let's name it properly. It should be a subject, and then a subject. Let's take this server object and replace with only go with the current block. Then Control GH for replacing. Just server dot object. Okay, replace. Now we add it, and after finishing this, All we need is a db context dot save changes and return 1, else return 0. So this is creating the server and updating the server. Let's go to the update server. So basically, I think we don't need the server ID since we are filling the server object with IDs here. Let's take this off. Even I want to take it off from the interface where we do not need this since the server ID is already available in server object. Then save it. Let's go back to the server service, and then coming to the update server. So same thing where server object equal to db context dot first check whether we want to pull all the data from the server object, whether it is available or not. Where then that's I think we want to keep the different names. Server ID first or default. This is available if subject not equal to null, which means the object is available. Then what we have to do is subject dot whatever the values that we want to update. We have to update here server object dot callout process. Same thing for contact ID and all of this. Not the server type ID. Sorry, not the server ID. Since the server ID is the one we are checking right now, so I do not need the server ID. Let's copy paste. The left side object is data access layer object, and the right side is the UI object. Okay, not the okay, all right. Oh, sorry, server object dot. So last updated time is something system dot date time dot now, or I think we'll fill that up also into the from the UI object so that it will be consistent across everything. Server object dot last time. Okay. So the server type objects. Then what we need is a db context dot save changes. Return 1, return 0. So now this is completed, and the delete server, which is very simple. All you need is taking server object and take the same condition here by selecting the server ID. And then if this object is available, server object dot tables are first default And then all you need is a db context dot table servers remove server object which we pulled from the database for the specific object. The reason we took is a table server and the server ID we are looking and getting the data for that particular server ID object. Then we are removing from that servers. db context dot save changes and return one. Okay, I think return either bool or something instead of returning one. So now change the return type is boolean, so delete it or not. So that okay, this is a pretty much the server we created. Now rebuild the project. Okay, alright, so now rebuild the whole solution. Just want to make sure if any updates, it will build it. Okay, all the three projects is succeeded and everything. So now at this time, I'm ending the session. So to recap, so we created data access layer, which is taking the EDMX, and then we added all the database tables here. The next we did is the models that we created for those specific database objects, which is a contacts operating and all. So this is a separate model. We want to use it in different projects, like the one that we are using right now with the service project by using the references. Then what we did is in the service logic, we implemented interface and the server, which we want to create the servers, update server and delete server and returning the server values. So now also we created a DB context with with by using the constructor of the service. So basically, this is a pretty much the code that we covered in the service. So now the next session I was gonna cover with API code. So that API is the front thing that the UI can use. So there is no other place where the uses in the UI like either service model or data access layer. It's only going through the web API. All the calls should pass through the web API and the data should travel from web API to the UI. So that's why the projects which I was getting as a layers like data access layer, service layer, and then web API and then UI. So that way it will be very organized code and it is really implementation is very easy and understandable. Okay guys, thanks for watching it. We'll meet it in the next session. Thank you. Bye.